So generally, what happens that the continuity is very difficult to achieve in case of Bezier curve. So for piecewise polynomial, not a good choice to use Bezier curve. Cubic spline, Hermite cubic spline, Hermite curve, which we have studied previously, yes, we can use it. But since that does not possess a orientation of the or the relocation of the points, so that we can always use it. Now, one of the important thing about Bezier curve that it can draw a closed curve. Okay. So let's think about summarize what is a Bezier curve. The shape of the curve is controlled by defining points. Derivative terms are not used. That was the case of Hermite curve. It is not used. So very easy to control the shape of the curve. This provides a better feel of curve to the designer because simply I can change the shape of the curve very easily. Okay. The degree of the curve is variable, so it is not constant, whereas in Hermite cubic spline it's order of 3 only. Here the degree will keep on changing if the number of points changes. 4 points, cubic order, 5 points, fourth order. So I can say if there is a n plus 1 control point, then my order of polynomial will be n. So that is one of the important features. Because blending is out of the question, that already we have seen, because it requires a relocation or reorientation of the points. The curve is more smoother than the cubic spline as it has higher order derivatives. So smoothness depends upon the order of polynomial. Basically, you have to understand this. Okay. You can think about drawing a maybe quadratic curve, cubic curve, and then you increase the order. So you will find out the smoothness of the curve will keep on increasing, and the smoothness depends upon how much times we can differentiate that particular polynomial. You can take the example of sine curve, okay, and you can take the example of parabola. So sine curve looks more smoother. Smoother means there is no abrupt significantly changes from one location to another. So suddenly it does not changes. Okay, in case of parabola, it does changes significantly. But smoothness means, so at one point something is there, say 0, and another point you should not jump to 100 directly. Okay, so smoothness means this changeover, whatever is happening from one location to another, that is nearly a constant, or there is certain uniformity. Okay, so that represents the smoothness, and this is possible only if we can differentiate multiple times, and that is basically governed by the order of polynomial. The curve passes through first and last point, so all these are important points. So if theoretical questions are there, if you write this for 6 marks, you will get 6 marks. Okay, don't write all the other things, write point wise, so you will get a full marks. Curve passes through first and last point. The curve is tangent to the first and the last point, so this is very important point always, and it is characterized by the polygon. It even draws the smooth curve, even there is a variation in the points is too much. Okay, if that variation is too much also, if the point is very too rapidly, but still it draws a smoother curve. The curve is symmetric about u and 1 minus u. Okay, so the sequence of control point can be reversed without affecting the shape of the curve. So if you change the sequence of the point, then the curve is not going to affect. So it is symmetric about u and 1 minus u. For any value of u, the sum of the blending function is 1. So that is always sum of the shape function is always 1. So that already we have gone through using Lagrange's interpolation. It lies within the convex hull of defining control point. This indicates that curve is stable. So convex hull means if these are the points which actually governs a polygon, then my curve will be always within this. So it won't go beyond this polygon. So it's a stability. Okay, it's a stable curve. It is not going to change if I change the point rapidly, so it is not going to behave very drastically. That's the advantage. Most importantly, it has the global control over all the points. So if any one point changes, all the equation changes. So in certain cases it is disadvantages, in certain cases it is advantages. Okay, so that we will see in case of surface modeling, what we see. So this is Bezier surface. Okay, so in Bezier curve, so it has only one direction. Now it has the another direction. So there are two Buck-Branston polynomial. This is varying in u direction. Okay, and this is varying in v direction. So I have both u direction and I have both v direction. Okay, and I have a set of all the points. So this is P0, then I have the point here, then I have the point here. So all these are the sets of points which are available to draw the basically a Bezier curve. Okay, so all these are my point data. So this is also point, this is also point, and this is also point. So I left out this, so let's highlight this. Okay, so these are the points, and which is written as a one of the array set, which is represented here. Okay, and of course there will be two summation. For the one direction I will vary, and on the direction j will vary. Okay, so u transpose, that means u in one direction, and we have the v is in another direction. Okay, so now P is the point data. Now what is MB? MB is the blending function matrix, which already we have derived for the Bezier curve. So same matrix I have to use MB, and of course there will be a two blending matrix I have to use in one direction and in the another direction. U matrix that is this one, and V matrix is this one. So U varies from 0 to 1 and V varies from also 0 to 1 in another direction. So if you do it, I get the whole array data sort of point, and I can construct the Bezier curve. So that's what the easy stuff. So in terms of polynomial equation, these are the things. Okay, so P of u, and how the first Branston polynomial and how the second Branston polynomial is calculated. So this equation already we have written. The only thing is that instead of u, now v is also appearing. So they are having a different direction. So this is one of the OpenGL program which I have created. So presently my C++ has crashed. Okay, maybe next time I will show you how you can run the OpenGL program to show this kind of surfaces. You can easily generate this. So this is one form of Bezier surface for which I created a program. Okay, so you just need to run this algorithm. It's a two loop logic which gets the point and generates this. So hardly 6 lines of code, because my logic is of that line only. Okay, so what it requires is some simple mathematics, nothing else. What to draw, those are same. Okay, so for example, you are doing machining. What you have to do? You have to turn on the switch of machine. Okay, then you have to fix what your job or raw material, whatever you want to say. Okay, and then tight it in whatever you want to do. Then start spindle. Okay, you can start the spindle. So I just write in short form. Then what you do, you turn on the coolant. So coolant you are turning on. Then you do your processing, and that will be a cutting action. So cutting action you are aware of how to do it. So how to move the point from one location to another, how to do the tapering and all the stuff. So this is your core logic. And at the end what you do, you stop the spindle, okay. Then what you do, you stop the coolant. So you stop the coolant, then remove the job and fix up another one. Okay. So these are the processes which is going to remain same for all the stuff. And same thing happens in the programming. So this remains most of the time constant and you have to focus on it. That's how it is. Easy it is. Okay. So you don't have to worry about what are the this stuff. Okay. So you can merge it and put it, still it will work fine, and you can focus on this and keep on modifying the stuff. Now B-spline. Now you have to just listen carefully. Okay. This is the toughest most topic of your CAD/CAM syllabus. Okay. So numericals are not expected on this, but the theory is expected. So try to understand. That's what I can say. Okay. So one of the biggest problem Bezier curve, global control and non-availability of the blending facility. So I want to go something different. In case of Hermite curve, what happens? So if one point is here, another point is here, another point is here. Blending I can do it definitely in case of that. But this is a different polynomial, this is different polynomial having different equations, and that creates a problem to handle all the times at every location different equation. Now what actually I want that there are some points available, okay, maybe something like this. I am trying to, what I want a curve something like this, okay, and I want a localization effect. So that means if I change this, my curve should change something like this. So meaning of this is that without shifting the equation, so something has to be there. If I move like this, there will be equation, and suddenly the equation itself changes its own nature and goes something like this. And if I do pull it, I get this, and again the same thing does happen. Okay, so this is what I am trying to have, and this is what is my intention. So for maybe some nature of work which is I require. That doesn't mean Bezier curves are not required. For example, this is the rule surfaces, okay, and to generate this rule surfaces, I need basically a Bezier surface. Okay, you can also have a sweep surfaces and so many things. You can generate the closed curve. So basically, where the surfaces are governed by some sort of wireframe geometry, which is not going to change, or if changes, the whole shape of the curve is going to change. In such cases, we go with the Bezier curve. So that's integrated. So you might not see Bezier curve, draw Bezier curve, Bezier surface, but when you use sweep, revolve or something, automatically the Bezier surface, Bezier patches are created. Okay. So first of all, high degree. The degree is determined by the number of control points and tends to be large for the complex curve. This causes oscillation and other computation problem. Of course, I want to have an intersection or I want to have certain points. So handling a higher order polynomial is challenging. So what I want whatever is the point I have given, maybe 1000 or maybe 1000, whatever it may be. I want that if I change it, so I will get quadratic curve through each set of points automatically. That is what is my requirement. Okay, so I should not bother about it. Global propagation of the local changes. So basically, I want a localization change. That is what I want to say. When modifying a control point, the designer want to see the shape locally changes around smooth control point. In Bezier case, the change, however, tends to be strongly propagate throughout the entire curve. Okay, so this is the major problem. So this I want to do it. So this is what is the basically motivation of why I'm going for B-spline. Intractable linear equation. If we are interested in interpolation rather than just approximating a shape, we need to compute control point from the points on the curve. This leads to a system of linear equation, and solving such system can be impractical when the degree of curve is very large. That is what I want to say. Okay. So I need to also govern the curve. So this is the pictorial presentation of my spline curve, and this is the equation of my spline curve. So instead of Branston polynomial, some other polynomial has appeared. So what I see here in this case, so if I change the P2, okay, so what is going to happen that let us say if the curve is going through from P0, P1, P3 and P4, let us say P4 is the point, and if I change the P2, the curve shape change is bound to occur only in this region. Okay, but and the other things are controlled by other 4 points. So the changes is local. Okay, it's not global. So around that particular point region, the change is going to happen. So here in this case, I varies from 0 to 6, where 6 is the number of data points. Okay, so I varies from 1 to number of points, and number of points are governed by n plus 1. So I could call this as n plus 1 are the number of points. So I varies number of points. K, what is K? K, instead of K, I would like to say K minus 1 is the order of polynomial. It's the order of polynomial. Okay. So who decides K? We decides K. That what order of curve I want to draw through all these points. So this is dictated by us. Okay. So maybe quadratic curve, maybe cubic curve, or maybe raised to power 4. So we dictate. So unlike Bezier basis function B, and the degree of the B-spline basis function is governed by Nik, and it's not dependent on the number of control points. So it is not dependent. Okay, instead it is controlled by another integer k, and which is independent of n. So number of points could be anything, and k could be anything. So that is how we are going to go ahead. So again I am writing the equation. So how do I go with the steps? Choose appropriate k. So minimum 4, because the radius of curvature continuity is maintained for the cubic curve. Okay, that is why I am saying 4. So 4 means k minus 1 is the order of polynomial, that is cubic order. Then choose n plus k plus 1 real number of knots. So these are the knots basically what is going to require. So one of the important point here in this case, in case of all the curves, u varies from 0 to 1. Okay. And here in this case, it varies up to number of knots. So it's a different thing. Okay. So here in this case, u is not restricted to 0 to 1. So it is restricted to number of knots. So that we will see. So basically it is governed by choose n plus k plus 1 knots. So these are the number of knots what we are going to require, and depending upon that the value of u I am going to get. So what is going to be the value of u? U means this. Here in this case u is represented by variable t. So t0, t1, t and k plus 1. So these are the values I need to calculate. Okay, and that dictates how the u is going to vary. Now one of the important parameter that n is a step function basically. So either it will be 1 or it will be 0. So I can say the weight of that point will be either fully, or that weight of that point will be totally 0. There will not be partial load. Okay, it will be either fully or it will be fully 0. So when it will be fully, so value of u is between two not vectors. Okay, so I am trying to explain you this. Let us say first not vector is 0, second not vector is 1, third not vector is 2, and the fourth not vector is, let us say, 3. If this is the case, okay, and u is going to vary from 0 to 3. So when u is 0.5, okay, so meaning is that u lies between this, okay, and this is 1k, therefore 1k value will be 1, okay, but n I 2, okay, which lies between this will be 0, okay, and the which lies between this is also 0. But as u migrates between 1 and 2, this value becomes 0, this value becomes 1, and the other value becomes 0. So in this way, these values are going to change. So it's a step input function, it's a digital function. Now you could see this is how I am going to calculate my NIK, and it is quite clear that this is a recursive function. Okay, so meaning is that it always depends upon previous values of NIK. So the values which I am going to require here in this case will be something different. Okay, so for example, if I is 0, so and k is, let us say, 3, so I need 0, 3, okay, then because here you can see NIK, so I need, okay, N03, so 03 is not available directly, I need to go back to 02, 01 and then 00, and then I have to come back. So if you see carefully, this is 03, it depends upon 02, it depends upon 1, 2, okay, but now I don't know, okay, I don't know 02, I don't know 1, 2, then I try to find out. So here is, so I go recursively again, so I becomes now 2, okay, so I is 0, okay, so I 0 and I put it k equal to 2, so N02 recursively, N02 how do I find out? So this is 0, 1 and this is 1, 0. So till I reach to this value where I send back 1, 0 back again and recalculate and fetch up this N03 polynomial. So this is the recursive process. Just try to understand. This is the recursive process and that we have to do it. Okay. And therefore you can effectively use multi-thread program. And that is why it is faster. Now I'll show you what the recursive means. I have to use keyboard. Okay. Let us say, fine, I'll try to explain you. Let us say I want to fill it with color. Okay, so you feel easy, there is a paint tool, you pick it at a point and it will get filled. But there is an algorithm called as flood fill which is working. So you pick somewhere here. Now what happens? In a function, so this is a function called as fill. And you pass argument as a point. And that point is this. Okay, so what actually happens? We color the particular point which is given and then call back fill again. I call the fill again. So he's trying to call itself, but here in this case point 1 plus 1. Point 1 plus 1 means this is point, this is the point. Okay, so now you fill this and also I call fill 0.1 plus 2 means this, likewise plus 3 means this, and likewise plus 3. So when it tries to call this, it goes call back again, it colors this and again call the same process 4 times again. So what happens when you call this? It will fill this and fill this. When you launch this thread, it will fill this, it will fill this, and it will fill this. So this is the recursive nature. And I have a different 4 threads which are working recursively, and I can take the help of multi-GPU technology to render the things faster. And that is what is available with the basically B-spline because of its recursive nature. Okay, so just let me know whether you got something out of this or not. Okay, fine. So this is what is the recursive nature. So basically I want this value, I want this value, I want this value, I want this value, because k is 4. Okay, my k is 4 and I varies from 0, 1, 2, 3. So if that is the case, then I should be aware of these values. Okay, so these values depends upon, so this value depends upon this value and this value, so I just highlight, and 04 depend upon these two values, and 01 depends upon these two values, and N24 depends upon these two values. I also don't know this value, but I know this value depends upon these two values, and this value depends upon these two values. This value depends upon these two values. This value depends upon these two, and in this way it keeps on going and finally iterating each value, and finally I reaches to this root. Okay, now this could be either 0 or 1 depending upon the value of u, and it goes back in forward direction. And of course while going back there is a factor multiplied by u into t to the t minus 1, sorry, ti, and ti plus k minus 1. So this u is always getting multiplied. So you could also see, that means here in between I am multiplying u, here I am multiplying u, and here I am multiplying u. Okay, so in each set basically I am trying to have a 1u multiplication, and that is why my order is going to be cubic. Okay, so this also suggests my order is going to be my cubic, and the value of this will be either 1, 0 and keeps on passing and changing. So I get a order of u cube, that is order of 3. Curve is order of 3. Okay, and these are the knots which will have a certain value. Okay, so now depending upon the requirement, so there are a lot of flavors in B-spline. Okay, uniform, non-uniform, clamped, non-clamped, then normal B-spline. Okay, then we have a normal non-uniform B-spline that we call as NURB, and rational B-spline also is available, non-uniform national B-splines that we call as a NURBS, N-U-R-B-S, NURBS. You might be more familiar with the NURBS technology. So these are the knot vectors. Okay, so non-uniform and clamp, if that is the situation, then this is how I am going to get the T. Okay, so this is how I am going to get the T. So basically J varies from 0 to certain value, that is n minus k plus 2, that is going to vary, and I am going to find out what is going to be T. So the T knot vector could be something like this: 0, 0, 0, and 1, 1, and 1. Okay, so it's not compulsory that they will be unique in number. Okay, so I have here 8 knots. Okay, so they could each sets could be same or it should could be different, and u does not varies from 0 to 1. Of course, here in this it is varying because I am taken as 8 knots, and k is equal to 4. K minus 1 is the cubic order. Okay, so in that case, that is going to happen. Of course, non-uniform as long as Tj is less than equal to j plus 1 for all values of j 1 to n plus k. So all values of j, if Tj less than equal to Tij plus 1, that means this is the T vector which is equal to this, which is equal to this, which is equal to this. This is less than this. This is equal to this. This is equal to this. This is equal to this. So if this is happening, so we say it's a non-uniform. Okay. So now consider n equal to 5 and k equal to 1. So my k is 1. So order of polynomial is 0, first of all. Okay. So number of knots n plus k. Okay. So n is 5, k is 1. Okay. So it is equal to 6. So therefore I have a 6 knot. Then how I am going to get T? With the help of this formulation. Okay. So this is J basically. So J less than K, value of K is 1. J equal to 0, yes. So it is 0. Correct. Because here it is mentioned it is 0. Then J becomes 1. Okay. So J is in this range. Okay. J is in this range. What is the value of K? K is 1. Okay. J is 1 and n is 5. So it is in this range. It is quite clear. So j minus k plus 1. So j is 1 minus 1 plus 1. So this becomes 1. So therefore 1. Okay. Now j is 2. So j here in this case is 2. So j is 2 and k equal to 1. Okay. So again in this range I am going j equal. So again this will be valid. Okay. So j is 2. So 2 minus 1 plus 1. So I am going to get 2. Similarly I will get 3. Similarly I will get 4. Okay. Similarly I will get 5. Okay. Now j becomes 6. So n is 5. So therefore now I have to use this equation. Okay. So n is 5. K is 1 and plus 2. So this comes around to be 6. And therefore this value appear to be here in this case 6. Okay. So in this way you have to take the support of this, create the T0 vector, and now similarly I explain these are the stuff which either 0 1 depends upon. So between, if u is between this is 1 or else 0. If u is between this, then this will be 1 or else 0. So these are all weights which is going to confirm, and if I try to draw it, so this is the all shape functions, we are trying to get it one by one. So you superimpose this, so you get the nature of the curve. So if I do superimpose it, I get only points, nothing else. I get a point. There is no u variable parameter is going to come because there is no recursion involved. So this is the dead end structure, and therefore for this I just get all the point structure because value of k was 1, order of polynomial 0. This is what I am going to get it. Okay. So you can verify for these values it will be P0, P1, P2, P3, P4 and P5, so on. Therefore I will get a point. Similarly, if I go for n equal to 5 and k equal to 2, what I am supposed to get? Okay, if n equal to 5 and k equal to 2. So again I can calculate this knot vector, I can calculate this, okay, and then I can go for the recursion, because now one recursion will be involved. Okay, and that will be 1 minus u. At least one recursion will be involved. So from this I could say that this is the first shape function, this is the second shape function, this is the third, this is the fourth, this is the fifth, and this is the sixth. So these are the all shape functions what we have plotted. Okay, so superimposing, you get the nature of the curve. Okay, so that curve will be basically a straight line. Okay, so I can draw a straight line. So you try to understand what kind of geometry I can draw it. I can draw a point, I can draw a straight line. Okay, then if I have the k equal to 3, so I just move quickly fast. I'll have all these shape functions. Okay, and then I superimpose it. I'm going to get something like this. These are the superimposing. Okay, and what kind of curve I'm going to get is the a quadratic curve, because k equal to 3. Now you can observe this is the P1 point previously, and I got this curve. So this lower curve, whatever is there, so this is because of this polygon. If I shift to this, then my curve will change something like this. Okay, so I'm trying to draw another parallel curve, which you are going to get the help. Okay, so I just erase those things. How to erase now? Okay, erased. Okay, so you can get a very clear idea about what I'm trying to do. So these are some properties. Those are available in books, or I may post you. So you just go through it. This is the matrix of normalized B-spline segment. Okay. Of course, you can have this, and you can get the closed uniform B-spline also. Okay. Then you have the non-uniform rational B-spline. So non-uniform rational B-spline is there is an additional polynomial in denominator. That is why rational term is used. Okay. One of the biggest advantages is that we cannot draw hyperbola, we cannot draw parabola, we cannot draw circle, we cannot draw ellipse with B-spline or with Bezier curve on any other curve, because it is having a certain order, and that order is basically dictated by some denominators which is placed here. Okay, and that governs the state. So if we have a B-spline curve or NURBS, but we say non-uniform rational B-spline NURBS, for this feature is available with us. We don't need to create algorithm to draw the separately circle. We don't need to create the algorithm in the software to draw parabola, hyperbola, something. This is capable of handling right from any order of curve to the any order of curve. So that's the one of the advantage of this NURBS, and that is why it is more famous. Okay, so all Hermite, Bezier, and B-spline are special cases of NURBS. Now you can consider it is on top of NURBS. So if you NURBS, you can draw Hermite curve, Bezier curve, B-spline curve, anything. It can be represented exactly conics. So that is why I said parabola, hyperbola, and other special curves. The way W is added to one or more degree of freedom for the curve manipulation. So this is the weight we are adding to manipulate the curve. It enjoys all nice properties of non-rational B-spline, such as affine transformation, invariant, and the convex hull property. So it has a convex hull property, that is enclosing the polygon. Okay. There are few things. So these are the examples how we can draw parabola at various shapes of conics. We can get it with the help of those equations. So these are the examples. This is the example of B-spline curve. So these are the surfaces which I have drawn with the OpenGL, and I just pull it up. So I get this geometry. So this shows you a localization effect. If it was a Bezier curve, then some different surfaces would have created. This won't be an effect. Okay, so I hope you are trying to get it. What is global control and the local control. Just let me know. Are you able to understand local control and global control at least from this figure? Quickly. Yeah, animals is there. Okay, fine. So that's the end of basically the topic. I just give me just 2 minutes. I would like to show you something. Okay. Okay. So this transformation we have covered fully. Okay. Then curves, everything, solid surfaces, each and every part I have taken care. Okay. Okay. In the syllabus itself, numerical B-spline is not mentioned. So to Bezier you can have Hermite cubic spline curve we have done. Unit 3 is covered as a part of your finite element analysis. So you know trusses we have completed and beam we have started. Okay. So all this stuff, FEM procedure, application, modeling coordinate, finite element equation, temperature effect, composite shaft, spring series in parallel. So that is what we've already done. Process, one dimensional problem, also we have done. So 3 units of CAD/CAM has been covered. Okay. Now this is going to take 3 to 4 hours, 3 hours max and 3 hours max. So hardly 9 hours of theory is remaining. The topic is remaining for the CAD/CAM. So this will finish off. Now we will go to FEM. So many of you will be part of FEM also. So already I said the 60% is syllabus is same as far as CAD/CAM and FEM is concerned. Okay, so you are doing CAD/CAM, that means at the same time you are doing FEM. So unit 1, 2, okay, this is what we have covered, which is a part of your CAD/CAM. And two-dimensional stress analysis, this part is your geometric modeling, which we have studied in case of surfaces and all the stuff, curve, shape function, all the stuff. So that will be a part of unit 2 and unit 3. So unit 3 and 4 is totally same as what we have studied in a geometric modeling. Only the mapping we have to do. Instead of 0 and 1, we have to go for a -1 to 1. That's the only change phase we are going to study. The 5th unit is like the first unit. So instead of 1D problem, you have here basically force and displacement, and here you have the heat flux and the temperature. So this is also automatically covered. What is different is this additional 6th unit. Okay. So as far as whatever the syllabus is concerned, so most of the topics I have already covered. Okay. So as I complete CAD/CAM, automatically your FE will be gets complete. So for just 1 minute, if anybody wants to ask any question, they hello. Quickly, if anyone has a question, or else you close the session. Yeah, Abhishek, any question?
Grammarly does more than catch errors.
Okay, it seems that no one has a question. Fine. Okay, thank you. We'll close the session.